I've been money craving, started shoebox saving, made some puzzle placements. I know what this life gon' come with, know that they gon' go and hate it.
Welcome back to Nationwide Sports Talk. I'm Matt Mackey, live from West Virginia, wild and wonderful, y'all. We are back with another great episode 89. That's right, 89, 89, the big number we are at right now. And that's how many episodes we produced, actually. Obviously, the number right there, episode 89. But live from Morgantown, my co-host, his name, the legend, Caleb Lane. Say what's up.
What's going on, guys? Hope everyone had a great week. And, hey, again, we had a lot of sports, and we got a lot of sports to talk about this week.
We do have a lot to talk about, but, our main focus is basketball and football. Baseball. The MLB playoffs are going on right now, and my beloved Yankees lost. So they're no longer in contention of the title. No big surprise there. They spent all the money, but don't produce. So we're not going to talk about that anymore. That's all baseball talk we're going to give you. But we're going to talk about the NBA Finals and how the Lakers won and clinched their 17th NBA title. But there is controversy behind that because everyone's calling it the Mickey Mouse ring or Mickey Mouse title. So go into that. After that, we'll go into NFL talk, give a recap of the week, what's going on, and everything that's transpired up until now. And then we're going to give our NFL picks for the week as well. And then following that, we're going to get into college football, everyone's favorite sport. Give you a little recap what's going on, some questions we have about the season so far, our 5-star performances, plus the best games to look forward to. So another jam-packed episode for you, producing for you, and it's going to be a good one. I know that for a fact. So, Caleb, let's kick it off right. NBA playoffs. It is finally said and done. It is now on the title. Who has won? And the Los Angeles Lakers clinched the 17th one. Give me your recap of so let's start with the finals first. The finals as a whole. Give me a recap of that. What'd you think of it?
It was definitely fun, going from, both the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference finals. Both were obviously great. And then you get into the actual finals, and I feel like it was a little bit more of a contest than people were thinking it was going to be. So I definitely like that part for the Heat. And, like I say almost every episode, being able to see the Heat and what they can do as such a young team is phenomenal. Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley have done a great job down there of finding talent, going out and get talent in Jimmy Butler and producing that talent, making them all work together and work as a phenomenal team.
I agree to that one. The finals as a whole, I ain't gonna lie, when it was 3-1, I was like, okay, Lakers got this in a bag. No doubt about it. But Game 5, that was a good game, I'm not gonna lie. Jimmy Butler played his heart out. He left it all on the line, and the memorable photo of that is him leaning over the barricade, just gasping for air because he's out of breath, because he's doing so much. And it got him the win, and the free throws I had a walk-off pretty much win for them, and got them the Game 5 win, making a 3-2 series. So I'm not gonna lie, as a Lakers, I'm like, okay, sit back and watch this. That guy just played his heart out right there in Game 5. Knowing how the playoffs work and how the format's going, how players produce, they put their heart out in one game. The next game, it drops. That's just how it goes because you play so hard, you play so tough, you get so tired, your body gets wore down. And the Lakers took advantage of that in Game 6. They took advantage of him being out, pretty much being tired from the whole entire bubble transpired as a whole. And they took advantage of that, and they got a nice 15-point win in that Game 6 to clinch that title. So
yeah, seeing Jimmy Butler play, almost 50 minutes in that Game 5, that's, the most that anyone played in, I think, almost the whole series. So like you said, it's definitely tough for the Heat for them to be able to drop that because he's so tired. But, like I said, they're so young, and I think that's kind of what hurt them the most is being that young, not really being used to being this deep in the playoffs, and being away from your family obviously is tough too. So, but a lot of credit to the Miami Heat.
100% agree to that one. Now let's talk about the NBA Finals choice, the MVP. Do you think LeBron deserved it, or should have went to AD?
I think after that performance, LeBron deserved it for that Game 6. Putting up, I don't even know how many triple doubles he's had in postseason. I I just know it's a ridiculous amount, and to be able to do what he does in his 17th year in the NBA is amazing to see. So yeah, I definitely think he deserved it. But I think AD was a little overlooked. Like, I think he was a bigger factor in that series than a lot of people say. I mean, I think LeBron's name just kind of won him that MVP for that.
I can see that, but like my thing is, I mean, we really don't know how the NBA Finals MVP voting goes. Do they base upon just the Finals series or the whole entire playoff series? If they're going for the whole entire playoff series, every single one from the first round, second round, the finals, and the conference finals and the finals, then AD deserved it. If they're going off all 4 rounds, but
if they go off just the finals,
LeBron deserved it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, because I mean that's how this for March Madness, the Finals MVP goes to the performer who performed well the whole entire tournament, not just the Final 4. I know that because I've seen it happen before. But other than that, I mean, LeBron did deserve it. Going his 17th year, it's incredible to see what he's done and what he is still able to do. That's a big factor right there. But now let's talk about the bubble as the whole entire thing transpired. Adam Silver put it together and didn't have a single positive COVID test in at all. What do you think about that? That's impressive. That's incredible right there.
Yeah, very impressive. Being able to have hundreds, I mean, I would say even thousands at the start of it, because you have almost every team in there, especially with the play-in and everything like that. So you have, over 1,000 players and staff members and all the people who are, taking care of the rooms and cooking the food. It's a lot of people down there, and to have no COVID test at all is phenomenal. He did a great job of it, and I think he deserves a lot of credit for what he was able to put together.
And not just part of the team or like the staff, like they eventually brought their families down a little bit, like
towards the end.
Exactly. And there's still not a single case came in. It was a great thing, and he deserves a lot of credit for what he done, because like he had the guidelines set in stone. You break them, you're out.
Yeah.
And players knew he was being serious about that.
So I just looked it up. LeBron now has 28 triple doubles in the postseason. So, I think that was just, kind of deserved for him, because 28 in your 17th career is insane.
Now let's talk about what's next for each team, the Lakers and the Heat. I saw today that AD is opting in to his contract, and he wants to re-sign with the Lakers. So we know that's going to be another AD and LeBron duo going on down there in LA. Let's talk what's going on in the Heat. We heard and we saw that the Heat are definitely going to try to pursue after Giannis. Imagine that team.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would work well. That team is going to be deadly if that happens, and I think we will probably see a Heat and Lakers rematch next year if they get Giannis down there in Miami.
I mean, let's just say that the Giannis Antetokounmpo is not the first Antetokounmpo to win it.
Yeah, that's pretty surprising. I know a lot of people on Twitter were making jokes about him not being the first brother to win, because obviously he's considered the superstar of the family, and got a max contract, I think, his second or third year in the NBA. So, and not to see him win an NBA title yet is kind of funny, and see his little brother win one before him.
Exactly. That's what I thought was pretty funny too. So I tried to point that out a little bit. And then let's move on to the last subject with this is I heard that before the Heat signed Jimmy Butler, Eric Spoelstra, and then they literally sat down and talked to Dwayne Wade. And Dwayne Wade literally said, he's your next guy. He's your next one to carry this franchise. Do you think that is a fact, that D. Wade was correct?
Yeah, I mean, are you saying like you think that he sat down with them, or like he is the guy?
He's the guy.
Yeah.
Well, D. Wade said it's true.
Yeah, I mean, especially after what he was able to do this year, I definitely think he's the guy. And like we said in past episodes, his previous situations, coaching or front office or just the players he was around just didn't work well with him. And it seems like he's found, I want to say, a forever home down there in Miami until the end of his career. And I'm happy for Jimmy Butler because I think, he's obviously one of the best players in the league, definitely towards the top, and never really was given that respect, I don't think. And I'm glad to see that he now can show people that he's at the top of the league, and he's starting to get that respect. And how much, that's got to be amazing to hear if you're Jimmy Butler, that D-Wade says you're the next guy of the Miami Heat. Like, having one of the greatest shooting guards to say to the owner and the head coach, this is your guy. That's high praise right there.
It is. That's a great compliment he received there, and I do think it's true as well. I think D-Wade did a great job by pretty much setting in stone. He's the guy. He's your next guy, and he proved it, helped them get to the finals, and that panned out very well for the Heat franchise. So,
do you think if they didn't make the finals this year, they would have kind of regretted that decision?
No.
And I don't think so either. I just think, I feel like Jimmy just came down to Miami and was like, you know what? I see this team I have. I see the coaching, the front office. I'm happy here. I can do stuff down here. And I think he just went on a run of a lifetime. And
100% agree to that.
I think it can happen again.
It definitely could happen again, but time will tell. Next season will come. So now we're moving on to the other big name or league in this country, the NFL. NFL talk here now. Here we go. Let's start with the number one headliner from the whole entire week. Dak Prescott fractured his ankle and is out for the season. As a Cowboys fan, I am heartbroken. I am devastated. But I'm not in doubt for our team. Here's why. Andy Dalton. I know it sounds crazy, but Andy Dalton. We had the best backup in the league. There's no questions about it. Andy Dalton. He has more weapons now than he did with the Bengals. Andy Dalton was an average quarterback. He was a good quarterback coming out of college. He was average in the whole NFL playing for the Bengals. And who did he have? A Giovanni Bernard as his running back and a beat-up A.J. Green as his main receiver and a terrible O-line. Terrible. Now, he's stepping into Dallas, okay? I'm being very – what's the word I'm looking for? Positive. It's not positive, but it's towards positive. Being very positive about the situation. You got one of the best backs in the league now with you, Ezekiel Elliott. You got one of the best receiving corps in the league with Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and you cannot count out Cedric Wilson. And then you got – it ain't the best O-line, but it's a beat-up O-line, but they still make the job done and try their best. It's a good offense he's got going for him. So I think it's probably, I hate to say, the best position that Andy Dalton can be in. Or Dallas can be in. Yeah, the best position that Dallas can be in, knowing that they have a veteran quarterback kind of as their backup who's made the playoffs before, who has won big games, who has beat the odds before. So, it hurts as a Cowboys fan to see their star quarterback go out. It does. But we're not in a bad spot.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. That best backup in the league, I'm a little iffy on that. I can't think of another backup, though. I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I can't think of a backup that I would
Who's a better backup?
I don't know. I can't think of a backup off the top of my head that I would
Joe Flacco for the Jets?
But, no, not at all.
Alex
I just think –
or Kyle Allen for the football team? Huh.
He's not even really our backup now.
Look over at 49ers. Nick Mullins? Huh.
I think Alex Smith took that from Kyle Allen, but
I'm keep going. Over the Bears. Mitch Trubisky? Huh.
He's still undefeated, though.
Let's go over to the Rams. Undefeated?
He won the only game he started.
Don't count because Nick Foles filled in the spot when he was down and losing by 16 points. Don't count. Let's go over to the Rams. Who's their backup?
I don't even know.
Blake Bortles. Huh? Let's go to the Texans.
All I'm saying is
Don Watson. Who's his backup?
He don't need a backup.
Exactly. Go over to the Ravens. Who we got? Lamar Jackson. Who? RG3.
He don't need a backup either. So
let's go down to the Panthers. Carolina. I'll keep going.
They don't need a backup. They got Teddy Bridgewater.
Will Greer? Huh. Never played a fucking bowl game.
Whoa, you don't have faith in
Never
the
played a bowl
WVU
game.
boy? You don't have faith in WVU boy?
Not Will Greer.
Oh
Man's a coward.
man.
He's a coward.
Oh man.
Never played a bowl game. In his whole entire college career, his 5 years he played, never played a bowl game.
That is true. I don't like how he said
Never
that,
beat a
but-
top 25 team either. Yeah, the stats.
Here's my thing.
Andy Dalton best backup.
I think with the situation he was thrown in for sure. I mean, like you said, all the weapons.
Overall best backup.
He had no true weapons. I mean, he had AJ Green in Cincinnati, but
He was healthy.
I was gonna say he was pretty much hurt almost 95% of the time. So, it was never really consistently having a weapon on the field for him. Now with this Cowboys team, you have weapons all over the field. The only question I have with him is he going to be able to put up points? Because your all's defense really struggles. And in the NFC,
Didn't we?
okay, it was against the Giants.
We won the game, didn't we?
It was against the Giants.
We still won the game.
But I just don't know if – I mean, your all's defense is shaky, and, I mean, you would even agree to that. They haven't been the
shaky.
best.
It's shitty.
I was trying to give you all the benefit of the doubt.
I'm not.
but-
I'm not. You're paying $1 million to play the game of football. You can't stop a damn ball going in there? No.
So what do you think they're going to use? I mean, he has amazing arm strength. He obviously has amazing IQ. Do you think they're going to use that to their advantage and let him just play his kind of football? Because like I said, and I think you would agree, he's a really good quarterback, just never had those weapons. Now he has them. Or do you rely on your big man in the backfield who you just paid, last year or 2 years ago, whole bucket of money to?
If I'm in the front office, this is me being 100% honest. I'm in the front office, and I just paid Zeke guaranteed $100 million. That mug is getting the ball 26 times a game. I don't care.
And
I
think he should have.
You got the
I think
money.
he should have, even with Dak at Prescott or Dak at quarterback.
We know this.
But here's my thing with that, though. I feel like they were kind of trying to not rely on Zeke to see if Dak can get the job done that way to pay him.
Yep.
And which, man, being a Washington fan, my heart's racing saying this, but I feel bad for Dak, like really bad for Dak, because he was having a hell of a year. I think he really could have led this team to a great year, and he goes down with a terrible injury. Do you think he gets paid after this year?
I don't know.
Like that's what's tough for me. Like that's my biggest thing, because he really deserves the money. After that, 4-0 start you guys had with him? Or
when? This year? We were 1-3.
1-3. But he still had over 450 yards almost every game.
Yeah.
So that's what I was actually meaning, was those 400 yards. But I think with just the 450 yards that he had in the first 3 games, I think he kind of deserves that. Even though you guys didn't win the games, a lot of it relied on your all's defense. But yeah, like you said, he's kind of in a shitty situation right now. It's tough for him.
But then you look at the teams that we lost to.
Good teams.
Seattle.
And you played really good against Seattle.
It was Seattle, the Rams. Who else did we lose to? Falcons, barely.
Seattle, the Browns, and the Rams. And, I mean, it's not like you guys – your all's worst loss was to the Browns, 49-38. And that's still, I mean, not a terrible loss, but they played the Seahawks, I think, almost perfect, as well as they could have played, the MVP for this year, who literally did, I think, the unspeakable against the Vikings this week, or last week. And the Browns, they just run the ball so dominantly.
Yeah.
That's tough for them.
So talking about the run game now, we're going to go on to the running back who just got cut. Le'Veon Bell, the Jets finally cut him after, and so far this year, a former Pro Bowl running back had 19 carries, 74 yards in 2 games. So they released him. They said, nope, we're tired of paying you. We're tired of doing everything for you. You're done here. But his potential spots, the day after he got released here, he has a top 3 potential spot. Like he's getting recruited again. He's about to go make his college commitment. His top 3 spots is Miami Dolphins, Kansas City Chiefs, and the Bills. So we talked about this before the episode started. If he goes to the Chiefs, how fair is that offense? That's not fair
at all. And then they have an amazing defense on the other side of the ball. So, I mean, the Chiefs were already, I think, kind of my favorite going into this year. But if they get Le'Veon, that just seals it as my number 1 favorite. Because right now, I kind of feel like Seattle could creep up there just the way that Russ is playing. So I kind of have the Chiefs and Seattle in a little neck race for my favorites. But if they get Le'Veon, they're definitely sealed as my favorite.
And then you talk about, you asked me why Kansas City, and it's pretty much because I told you, from what I read and saw, is yes, they got Clyde back there for them, but it's the fact that they need a second option. They need a veteran running back in their backfield with them. What better than a former Pro Bowl running back, Le'Veon?
Yeah.
And you look at Miami. Why does Miami need him? They got Jordan Howard, Matt Breida. Matt Breida does not produce well at all this year. Jordan Howard, he's in the woods now. He's in the woods. Like, he ain't talked about anymore. And then they got Myles Gaskin, who they're pretty much relying on now in the passing game. I mean, because he's caught 64% of the passes and out of the whole entire offense, and he was just drafted 2019. So why not bring in that veteran leadership from Le'Veon who can get in the pass game for you and help run the ball for you and do everything you need and be a good second option behind Myles Gaskin. Then you look at the Bills. Okay, Buffalo Bills. My boy Josh Allen. My boy Josh Allen needs help. In 2 out of his 3 seasons with the Bills, he has led the team in rushing yards. 2 out of the 3.
Isn't he leading in rushing yards right now?
Probably. I don't know about that one right now. But Zach Moss and Devin Singletary are not the guys. Zach Moss, Devin Singletary,
My thing is with this Jets team, I mean, I feel like part of it was Le'Veon really wasn't happy there. I feel like he just kind of wanted that max contract, just wanted that money pretty much. I feel like that's, why he went there. I think, him probably seeing all that hype that was around Sam Darnold as well, probably kind of forced his decision a little bit more.
Sam Darnold.
But obviously, getting, how much did he get? Like $100 million, I think, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I think it might have been a little bit more than that, but
that was 2 years ago.
I mean, it was a lot of money, and I think obviously that money is gonna steer your decision. But I think the little bit of hype that Sam Darnold had, I think probably helped him make his decision a little bit more. And he's not all that. We've talked about it. Josh Allen's way better. And I mean, just looking at this offense, I don't think they really gave Le'Veon the chance. I mean, looking at it, they only gave him 19 carries on the year. Frank Gore has 64 attempts of running the ball. So, I mean, and then you have your second who, Sam Darnold's almost beaten Le'Veon Bell in a rushing attempts. He has 14. So, I don't know. I just don't think they gave Le'Veon the benefit of the doubt because obviously he's an elite running back, or else he wouldn't have, I would say, 3 or 4, at least 2 of the best teams pursuing him. So, yeah. But I want to see him go to the Bills, in all honesty.
Me too.
That would be my favorite.
Now for Le'Veon, do you want to win? Do you want to win a ring now,
or have all the money?
Have all the money. Because I'm not gonna lie, this Bills team is pretty good.
Yeah.
But are they going to beat the Chiefs yet? No.
No. I mean, with adding Le'Veon in though, that's a huge step forward and to being good enough to beat them. I think a couple more defensive picks would be useful for them.
On set up for them. I mean, they got
Josh Norman got absolutely tossed by Derrick Henry, so I would not be surprised if he gets cut after that. But
I mean, time will tell. I mean, I think he'll land in either the Bills or Chiefs. I think Dolphins are not in there, not question at all. But if he's going to say I want to win now, it's Bills or Chiefs. If he's going to say I want the money, it's Bills or Dolphins.
I want to say this though, and I know me and you talked about it before the episode. One place I think he would go back and be a perfect fit is Pittsburgh.
That's
the way that they have been this year. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger's back. I think probably, him or Cam, obviously comeback player of the years.
Alex Smith.
You think so?
After what he's been through and how he came in the game last week, hell yeah.
That's true, but I just don't know if he's gonna play like that. That's the thing, because You said what?
I think it's locked for him to win it.
I don't know. We'll see. It's definitely that three-way race right there because I don't see any other players getting it. But I think it's like I told you, if the Steelers went back and got him, I think he'd be a perfect fit because you had way too much personality in that locker room between him and Antonio Brown. I mean, probably the two biggest personalities in the NFL in one locker room. You're not winning a lot of games, so it's tough.
James Conner, the backup Benny Snell. There was high hopes for James Conner this year. I mean, James Conner, he did great, the first year without Le'Veon. He really did. And then Benny Snell would step in and get his little touch, get his yards. It's a great duo. Don't get me wrong. It's a solid duo, but they're not good enough to be the best duo. Like, that makes sense. Like, James Conner, he can produce very well, but he's inconsistent as well too.
It's kind of hard to fully rely on him like you can Le'Veon or a Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, it's kind of crazy how the Chiefs can kind of rely on Clyde Edwards-Helaire now, and he's only a rookie. Yeah. And which I don't think that they need Le'Veon, because if they get Le'Veon, then Clyde Edwards-Helaire might just become the best running back in the league after Le'Veon.
I'm saying.
Which would be scary because then you have the best running back and then the best quarterback and then probably top two best receiver.
And a top tight end.
Yeah. So that's just ridiculous. But, yeah, I mean, let's hope for the Bills because Josh Allen needs some help. And
over here at Nation Sports Talk, we love some Josh Allen. I've been a huge fan since he got drafted. I was a huge fan when he was in college for Wyoming because, I'm a Mountain West fan. I'm a Boise State fan. So I saw what Josh Allen was capable of before the draft. And I won't forget the day back in 2017, people asked me, who do you think the best quarterback in the draft is? I said, Josh Allen. I said, what? What about that boy Sam Darnold or Josh Rosen or Baker Mayfield? I said, nah, ain't no Josh Allen. Josh Allen's the best. He's the truth.
Yeah.
But then again, Lamar Jackson was drafted later on too. So.
Yeah, I mean, Lamar is obviously great and all. He was just kind of thrown into a little bit better of a system, I think.
To be honest with you, I think Lamar won't have a season like that again. I don't.
Like an MVP season?
Yeah.
I don't think so either. I just think there's too much. I just think there's too much talent in the league now.
Not just
and people know what he can do.
That's what it is.
So it's, deep. I mean, you look at the NFL now. People were. I mean, the QB position was never, ever getting out of the pocket. It was always staying in the pocket. And now the NFL has moved to quarterbacks being mobile and being able to be mobile. Every single quarterback at least scrambles 3 times a game.
But I'm saying if you look at it this way too, like Cam Newton and Lamar play the same exact way.
Cam's just a lot bigger.
Yeah, a lot swoller, that kind of thing too. It's just the fact that Cam Newton had one MVP season. After that, he went downhill because he had the expectation now was set to the bar. I mean, Lamar did a great job having an MVP season last year, but now, like, his bar has been set. You got to meet that goal every single season. And to me, honestly, the NFL won't see it as an MVP season like that again. If
To me, I kind of
no, it won't be MVP season.
feel like that's kind of how RG3 was too. Now, granted, the offensive line was terrible for him, so he obviously couldn't have, and he was in a terrible program. But if he was at a different team,
drafted Andrew Luck.
Hey, it wasn't my decision. But same thing would have happened to Andrew Luck.
No, it wouldn't have.
It would have. He would have got hurt. We had a terrible line.
No, he would not have got hurt because he does not play the same. Andrew Luck and RG3 were two different style quarterbacks. One was a pocket passer, one was a scrambler, run for your life kind of read option guy.
Yeah, but Andrew Luck, if the pocket was collapsing, could still scramble and get out of the pocket.
But RG3 was running too much. That's what got him hurt.
But the offensive line could not block. Like, that's the biggest thing that I had was – I think
the read option was there. It was a format play for him.
It was, and it was dumb.
It was a backup then. What was his name?
The backup quarterback?
No, my bad. The running back. What was his name? From FAU.
Ooh.
Number 46. It's right. I see it right there.
It's on the top of my head. I just can't remember.
It's also the A, I think.
I can't remember.
Drafted in the 6th round. I know that.
I can't remember. But
continue. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think if he was in a different situation with a better O-line, had a little bit better of an arm. I mean, he was literally just put into a terrible program with not very good receivers and just – I mean, that was pretty much their philosophy. Like, you're going to win us games by using your feet.
Alfred Morris,
yep, that's right. And he wasn't too great for us, and then he went to the Cowboys, if I'm not wrong,
he was
after, right?
Cowboys for a little bit.
And he did pretty good when he was with you guys. Sucked with us and then did pretty good with you guys.
Yeah.
But
let's move on to the next topic because I feel like Le'Veon, we talked too much about the cat already.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons real quick. You know, it's the last recap of the week. So after being 0-5, what did the Atlanta Falcons do? Well, let's tell you what they did. They did a lot of changes in the front office and in the coaching staff. They fire the owner fires Dan Quinn, the head coach, and the GM, Thomas Dimitroff. Then the owner comes out and states, when asked about Matt Ryan's future, we'll have to see about that. Then they closed down all facilities for the Falcons because of COVID.
Here's my thing, and kind of going off of how their season has started. Let me look at the rest of their schedule. I mean, they play the Vikings this week. I think Vikings will probably beat them. They don't have a schedule that really favors them too much, especially with that defense and the way that they're able to blow leads. I think the way that the GM was thinking was we are going to have to see about Matt Ryan's future. I mean, he's not old, but he's older. He can't – I'm not going to say he can't get it done because he's obviously, putting up numbers week in and week out. But the way that this team's looking, I mean, you're going to have at least, I want to say, probably a top 15 pick, if not top 10. So you're falling around there. You're probably
at least.
At least.
They do. They're 0-5, Caleb.
That's what I'm saying. So you're gonna
going out of the top 10. They might be top 5.
So you're gonna get a quarterback. Like, I feel like that's the way he was thinking is we're not getting out of the top 10. So we're almost guaranteed a quarterback at this point in the draft if we want one. And with the quarterbacks that are coming into the draft or have the possibility of coming into the draft this year, me personally, if I were a GM, I'd probably take my chances on a quarterback instead of sticking around with Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
I mean,
future.
Yeah, I would. You have a good receiving core. You have a pretty good O-line. Your defense is just not there. Your running back is okay. But I don't know. I mean, I think if they get like a let's see. I mean, they'd probably fall to. I mean, let's say if they get the 5th pick, you're looking at probably getting.
Right now, the top 2.
Really? So you're looking at probably either getting Trevor Lawrence or me personally, I think Shane Buechele is going to be one of the top 5 quarterbacks to go. And I think if he's one of the if he's a 5th quarterback to go, I think he kind of got slept on. Justin Fields, if he wants to leave after this year.
Trey Lance.
I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks that can possibly help the Falcons in the future. And I could see Shane Buechele working in that system with those receivers they have.
Love Shane Buechele.
I do. But, hey, Sam Howell, too, I think. He's only a sophomore. Never mind.
Yeah. So, with that being said, we're going to talk about an NFL picks, Caleb. Last week, Caleb came out on top, not going to lie. He did. He went 9-4. I went 7-6, putting the season at a total tied 39, 17, and 1 for both of us. Because I canceled out the Broncos and Patriots game because it was not played, so neither of us lost, neither of us won, neither of us tied it. So I just cut off the slate. So moving into this week, it is a tied pick season so far. So who's going to get the edge this week? Let's start Thursday night's game. Texans, Titans. Short week for the Titans to get ready for this Thursday night game. Oh, my bad. Sunday night game. There is no Thursday night game this week.
I'm going to go with the Titans. I think just overall they have a good offense. Texans have really struggled. I think with Bill O'Brien out of there, they're going to be a little bit better. But I think it's a little too soon for them.
Texans didn't get a win without him last week.
Yeah, I told you. I think that was like a canter out of the locker room for them. So I just think this Titans offense is a little too good. I mean, especially with Derrick Henry, what he's able to do this year. I don't really see anyone on the Texans defense being able to stop that.
I agree with the Titans. Great win they had on Tuesday against the Bills. Big win, actually. I like Titans as well. Next game, Bengals and Colts.
Kind of like the Bengals in this game.
I like the Colts.
Defense. The Colts have a lot of high hopes for the Colts. I think they're obviously a really good team, but I think Joe Burrow can come out and shock us. So.
I could say that if the Bengals defense was better, the Colts had a better defense. Bengals and Colts have better defense. Bengals and Colts have the same kind of offense, but the Colts also have a guy named Jonathan Taylor in the backfield with them.
That's true.
So I like the Colts. You like the Bengals. So there's one game difference. Vikings and Falcons. We just talked about the Falcons and what the shit show's going on over there. Can the Vikings be 2-4 or will the Falcons be 1-5?
Let's hope this game gets played, by the way, too, because with the Falcons closing down their facility. But if it does get played, I'm going with the Vikings. Been off to a pretty shaky start. I mean, they've played, pretty good teams, losing to the Packers, the Colts, and the Titans, and the Seahawks, and getting a nice win against the Texans. I think they come out with a pretty decent win this week because the way they played last week against the Seahawks, only losing by 1, to a really unfortunate play and really unfortunate drive. I think it was 96 yards by Russell Wilson. Insane. But this Falcons defense I don't think can stop that offense.
100%. I like the Vikings for sure. I mean, who's going to be that man for the backfield of the Vikings? Dalvin Cook or Alexander Madison? But question time will tell. But I like the Vikings for sure in this game. Now, the Denver Broncos and Patriots game we played this week. Broncos or Patriots? Cam Newton, not for sure if he's going to play yet either. Stephon Gilmore still questionable. They don't know about that one either.
Patriots. I think Cam Newton will come back.
I like the Patriots too because it'll be announced today if he's playing or not for Sunday's game. Either way, the Broncos are kind of shaky a little bit. Not gonna lie, with a new quarterback coming in now, which is Drew Lock's out. I like the Patriots. The Washington football team versus the Giants. Battle of the NFC East.
I like the football team. No idea what our quarterback situation is right now, but the Giants don't have Saquon, and that's a big key to their offense. And I think just our defense, our DBs are awful, but defensive line is way better.
I like the same thing. I like the football team as well. Giants are kind of shaky. I mean, I still don't have faith in Daniel Jones yet. Saquon out, so it's hard to say what they can bring to the table. I like the football team for sure. Ravens and Eagles. This is probably an easy game for you to pick.
Ravens for sure.
Ravens for sure. All right, clean slate. There we go. Now, here we go. Browns in Pittsburgh. Myles Garrett makes his return to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I like Pittsburgh in this one. I just think they're a better team overall. The way Claypool, number 11, the receiver, the way he played last week, him and Big Ben have probably the most unreal connection right now. So I think that's going to continue over this week.
Bears and Panthers.
I like the Bears in this one.
I like the Bears as well. Carolina's kind of shaky still without McCaffrey. And Nick Foles went the edge with Tom Brady last week and beat him.
Doing his thing.
Tom Brady didn't shake his hand. Detroit and Jacksonville.
I like Jacksonville. Detroit's too shaky for me.
I like the Lions because of Matt Stafford.
You think he could have like a final game drive or something?
Yeah. 100%.
I could definitely see. I mean, he's known for that. Like, he's always known for those late drives, so I could see it.
Exactly. And I just think the Lions, the Jaguars are shakier than the Lions, to be exact. Jets and Dolphins.
I like the Dolphins in this one.
I like Dolphins too, and I think this is the game they need to put 2 in.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, exactly. Jets are 0-5. You can put Fitzpatrick in if Tua doesn't do great, and he can he can at least put up 2 or 3 touchdowns to, if you're not in the game, at least get you back in the game.
I agree. Packers and Bucks. Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady.
I like the Packers. Aaron Rodgers has been unreal this year. I would put him up there as well for MVP.
I agree.
In my conversation.
I like the Packers too over the Bucks. The Packers has been playing more like a team than what the Bucks have been doing, and it's all about team chemistry. And I think the Bucks are still trying to figure that out, honestly. And with Godwin still might be out, he's still questionable. It's a very tough one to say. Yeah. Rams and 49ers.
I like the Rams. They looked really, really good last week against us. And the 49ers, I don't know, man. I hate to say it, but I think that was just a lucky run for them because they've had a shaky start. I understand they're, kind of missing.
Oh, injuries.
It is, but I don't know. Their defense is very shaky.
All right, Kansas City and Bills.
Chiefs.
I like the Chiefs.
I think a final drive.
I love my boy Josh Allen, but you can't go against Pat Mahomes. All right, Cowboys and Cardinals.
I like the Cardinals in this one. Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins have too unreal of a connection.
You know what? I'm just going to say I'm going with the Cowboys. Not because I'm a Cowboys fan, but I want to see if I pick them right this week and they can win the game for me. That's what I'm going for. I'm going to Cowboys, without a doubt. That's the NFL picks for the week. That's a recap of the NFL. Moving on to college football. Here we go. Nick Saban tests positive for COVID, so he won't be on the sideline this week for the game. So, with that being said, is there no defense in SEC?
There really hasn't been defense in the SEC.
No.
But I think even more now, like there's just no defense at all. The SEC's kind of turned into a Big 12, I think. Yep. Just better because you get all those 5-star recruits out of high school. I think I've seen the SEC put up the amount of numbers they have though this year.
Never have. I mean, just looking at the point-wise, you have 27 points Arkansas put up against Auburn. You have 48 points that Ole Miss put up against Alabama. And then you look at last week, Missouri and LSU, that final score is 45-41.
Yeah.
So with that being said, even though we're talking about SEC, let's go move to the ACC. Number 5 in the country is UNC. Is UNC that good? Or just because the Big Ten's not in it yet?
I want to say they're definitely a top 15 team. But I think they're ranked so high just because the Big Ten's not in it. Obviously, I don't think, not me being biased, I don't think they're a better team than Ohio State. So, I mean, right now they're ranked above Ohio State, and that's because Ohio State's not playing. I really don't know if they're a better team than Penn State or not. And then looking at the year Wisconsin had last year too, or Minnesota had last year too.
Yeah,
who knows if they're better than them? So it's kind of iffy, but I definitely think they're still a top 15 team after the Big Ten comes back.
I agree.
Sam Howell's ridiculous.
Sam Howell's pretty good. The defense is pretty good too for UNC. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
Mac Brown has a great coach. He's built a great program with UNC. I'm not gonna lie, going back there, it's been great to see. And I think UNC, they're a top team, but not a top 5 team, in my opinion. So we'll see where they really fall when the Big Ten rankings come out with the AP. Last football recap for college football. Is Tom Herman on the hot seat? Tom Herman came in this year with a veteran quarterback who has played 37 games, starts 2 to be exact, has had 30 players total start a game going into the season beforehand. Then you had a top 5 recruiting class coming into the season. And you don't beat Oklahoma, who's on a down year for them, obviously. We know that. You are starting the season out with 2 wins. You lose to TCU, who your AD came from, because the AD graduated from TCU, left there, went to a bigger school to see if they can do that. So now the AD's pissed that he lost his alma mater. So I think Herman's on the hot seat. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I mean, he's been there how long?
6 years?
I don't know. I mean, with the amount of talent that they have, though, you should be at least a top 10
players
team.
Come into the season who started a game. 30.
You should at least be a top 10 team. You have 5-star corners that go there every year, 5-star receivers that go there every year. Sam Ehlinger, who, I'm not a big fan of Texas because I'm a West Virginia boy, but he's still a good quarterback. Like, he's not terrible. But they still can't win.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think he is. Yeah, definitely on the hot seat. I mean, all of the hype that they have had, especially in the past 4 years of being ranked in the top, I want to say 10 almost every year in the preseason polls. By the end of the year, they're at 25 or 24.
Yeah, they fall out.
So, or not ranked at all.
Yeah. So they fall out. So he's on the hot seat. Now Herman's on the hot seat. You can't win the big game, the Big 12. You're a big rivalry. So you haven't beaten in a while. So you're definitely in the hot seat.
To a freshman quarterback who struggled the first 3 games.
Exactly. So with that being said, we're going into our top 5-star performance of the weekend. Caleb, give me your number 5.
My number 5 is Felipe Franks. Went 22 for 30, and he had 318 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he also had 15 carries for 28 yards. They weren't able to get the win over Auburn, but they played him really well. Lost by 2, so definitely had to put him up there.
My number 5 is Kenny Yeboah, the Ole Miss tight end, 7 catches, 181 yards, 2 TDs versus Bama, and that 63-48 loss that Ole Miss had against Bama. Go ahead for number 4.
My number 4 is Sam Howell. He played a hell of a game this weekend, 18 for 23, 257 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Also had 19 yards on the ground running the ball.
My number 4, welcome back to the list, Zay Flowers, Boston College wide receiver, 6 catches, 162 yards, 3 TDs versus Pitt in that big kind of upset win they had, 31-30 for Zay Flowers and Boston College.
My number 3 is Kellen Mond out of Texas A&M. They were able to get a nice upset win over Florida this week. He was 25 for 35, 338 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And like I said, they got a nice 41-38 victory over Florida this week.
Going back to that game, my number 3 guy is Terrence Marshall Jr., LSU wide receiver, 11 catches, 235 yards, 3 TDs. My bad. This is LSU. Whoops. 11 receptions, 235 yards, 3 TDs versus Missouri in that 45-41 loss they encountered. So right there's another high-scoring game.
My number 2 guy is Travis Etienne, 17 carries, 149 yards, and 2 touchdowns. To touch on this Miami team, they could be so good, but they make so many mistakes.
Yep.
And then on another part of that game, Travis Etienne is unreal. I was watching that game, and that man was going down the sideline. It was like a 60-yard touchdown run, going down the sideline, hit his second burst of speed, and literally outran their safety and cornerback, and they had him cut off. And it was just unreal to see, so I had to put him at number 2.
My number 2 guy is the man who had 5 TDs, Najee Harris, Alabama's running back, 206 yards on 23 carries, 5 TDs versus Ole Miss in that big one they had. You got to give a guy credit who had 200 yards and 5 TDs. He's got
it. He is on my number 1 because, like you said, carrying the ball 23 times, getting 206 yards and 5 TDs, going up against, I would say, a pretty good Ole Miss team. I mean, they put up 48 on Alabama, and he really put that team on his back. Because I feel like if he didn't have those 5 TDs, they could have maybe lost that game.
My number 1 guy, a guy I texted you about, Connor Bazelak, quarterback out of Missouri. Wonder why he's number 1. He was the second player I ever interviewed on Nationwide Sports Talk. So he's back on the show being mentioned in the 5-star performance. The second guy from Nationwide Sports Talk Network to be mentioned. Last week was John Metchie III. This week it's Connor Bazelak, Missouri's quarterback, came into play against defending national champions LSU and did a 29 or 34 completions, 406 yards, and 4 TDs in the big win for Missouri, 45-41. Connor Bazelak, welcome back. And I told you you'll be mentioned here eventually when I do my 5-star performance. And you are now mentioned, my man. Welcome.
Number 1.
Number 1, Connor Bazelak. Learn the name. I told you that, Caleb. That's why I didn't say anything to you. When I texted you, that's all I said was the name, because he was the second guy who answered my text and said, I'll do the interview. And look what he's done. Bam.
He has to be pretty happy about that win, too.
Oh, 100%. Boy from Ohio, big pocket pass quarterback guy. And from what I've seen, he has grew, got muscle on him. And I ain't going to lie, you're going to learn a lot because last year was his freshman year. He had Kelly Bryant in front of him. So you're going to learn a lot. And that's what he did. He became a star.
Yeah, he's a freshman this year. I mean, he has a lot of playing time ahead of him because – obviously with COVID, they get an extra year eligibility. And then, like you said, last year he had that red shirt, so he gets another year on top of that. So he's just going to continue to develop. So it's going to be scary for the SEC.
Told you I find the stars before they become a star. It's 2 weeks in a row. Hopefully next week I'll see another big star on the list. I'm praying for it. My other guy interviewed, he's in the transfer portal right now, leaving UTEP. TJ Godwin. He's moving on from UTEP. Smart decision by him. But Connor Bazelak, the man. Coolest guy. Go back and check that episode out if y'all want to look at that. I think it's episode 8 on the Podbean episodes on our podcast. Go back and listen to him, watch him, listen. Go ahead. He's a star. So, with that being said, that's our 5-star performances. Like we said before, you put on a show, we will find it and discover and mention it and mention you in the 5-star, because you might have been a 3-star, 2-star, 4-star player when you got recruited. But this past weekend, you were a 5-star in our eyes, and the performance you had proves it to be true. So, best games of the week, I got 4 mentioned down, Caleb. I got UCF versus Memphis. That's going to be a big game in the American Conference. UCF used to be a top dog. Memphis used to be a top dog too last year. Gonna be a good game, the battle of non-ranks. Then I got number 3 Georgia versus number 2 Alabama. Biggest game of the week, but Nick Saban's not on the sideline. Going after that game, Boston College got the big win over a ranked Pittsburgh team. Now they're going into Blacksburg playing Virginia Tech, who's also ranked. Will they get the same job done? Then Pitt, coming off a devastating loss, who was ranked last week to Boston College, is playing number 13 Miami, who we just lost last week to Clemson. 4 big games. Out of those games, Caleb, what's the biggest one?
I think obviously you kind of got to go with that SEC battle. It's a top 5 battle. But besides that, you know me, I'm a big fan of the American Conference. They develop straight talent out of there with Buechele, Dylan Gabriel at UCF. Big fan of his. So
Brady White, Memphis. Brady White.
Yeah, and Brady White. So that's going to be the second game on my list. Actually, I'm gonna put that as the first game because of Nick Saban being absent.
Yeah,
I think that's you're not facing the true Alabama team, in my opinion. You don't have Nick Saban on the sidelines. You don't have that that intelligence. I mean, there's obviously he has intelligent coaches around him, but he's just so ahead of the game. He can make that snap decision mid-game of, adjusting game plans or do whatever he needs to do to get the win. And that's going to be something to miss. And, I mean, like you said, you have a lot of high hopes for this Georgia team. And I think it could be an upset without Nick Saban on the sidelines.
and I do agree to that one. My question is this. When it comes time to make the Final Four for the playoffs, will they take an undefeated Ohio State team
over a one-loss
Alabama team or a one-loss Georgia team? See what I'm saying?
I mean, is this one loss just – I mean, obviously the one loss is going to be just this game for either team. So, I don't know. I mean, I think Georgia's –
Look at Florida, too. They lose one game, the SEC championship game.
I think – well, and I think – I mean,
SEC's got 3 teams in this playoff.
That's that's another really good point right there because the only other team that can compete for the playoffs right now in the SEC – like you said, you have Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. And Georgia and Florida play each other, I think, the 7th of November. So, right there, someone's going to have a second or third loss for Florida. But I don't know. I mean, it's going to be tough. I think you would have to take the undefeated Ohio State team. Not me being biased. I would just think you would have to take the undefeated team. But then again, it would kind of depend on how bad each team, like how bad this Georgia team lost to Alabama. And if Alabama's the number 1 team in the nation and Georgia only loses by 2 or 3 points, then I don't know. I mean, you might have to throw Georgia in there over someone.
And not just that, like UNC, I don't know if they play Clemson this year in the regular season, but if they face an ACC title game, you got. Yeah, Clemson might be undefeated, but that one loss UNC has to Clemson.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't think that they would put UNC in the playoffs. I mean, we've talked about it. We need an 8-team playoff.
Yeah,
we need it.
There's no Big 12 team getting the playoffs this year.
No, not after Oklahoma lost 2, and then Texas lost 2. So yeah, no, they're already eliminated. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be a Big Ten team, 2 SEC teams, and probably an ACC team.
But then you got to look at this too. The Pac-12's playing. They have an undefeated team there. American Conference come to play. You have an undefeated team there.
Me personally, I don't think they would put a Pac-12 team in there. I don't think Pac-12 teams will be able to compete with, say, a Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, or even Georgia, really.
You got Notre Dame.
I mean, if they haven't played Clemson yet, have they?
Nope.
So, I mean, if they can knock Clemson off, that's going to be – you might even just see 2 ACC teams. You might just see Clemson and Notre Dame in there. So let's touch on this real quick. Obviously, we both think that there should be an 8-team playoff.
100%.
when do you think they should bring this? I think it's kind of hard to bring it in with COVID and everything like that right now, but I'm thinking with just the way that everything's playing out for this year, you got to try to get it in next year for 8 teams.
I think you do it the Power 5 conference champions, so the Pac-12, Big Ten, SEC, ACC, and Big 12. You get those. You get the one group of 5 team, who's the top dog at all. You know, whether it's Boise, SMU, UCF, it was 2 years ago, and then you get 2 other teams who are fighting for it, who have the good resume to build.
Like a second SEC team or a second Big 12 team.
Yeah.
Or a Big 10 team, whatever.
Yeah, whoever's a runner-up and whoever, you know, because you look at the conference this way, because how it usually works, you know, they don't play cross division.
Mm-hmm.
We know that.
So you would probably have to put that the runner-up in that second division.
Yeah, whoever had the better resume. Not because they won their side of the division and played Clemson and get slaughtered by 40 in the ACC title game. You don't want that team in there. But like last year with Wisconsin. They could have
kind of got, yeah. I think it's been needed. I think for this year it's really needed because there's so many good teams, and so many possibilities. I mean, in my personal opinion, I think whatever matchup would be in that 8, like if you had an 8-team playoff, I honestly think each game in that would be a good game because there's so many good teams. 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7. No one gets a bye week. Mm-hmm. 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7, 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5. Boom. Winner plays winner.
Then the winner of 1 and 8 play the winner of 4 and 5. Winner of 2 and 7 plays the winner of 3 and 6. Boom.
Yeah, it's needed, and I really hope that NCAA will pass it soon. We obviously know that NCAA is all about money, and I believe that is going to bring – I think that would bring so much more money to the NCAA, to football at least for them. But you know what would bring even more money to them? They made another NCAA football. But that's besides the point.
I mean, yeah, but like I said, it's beside the point. So, Caleb, that's in episode 89. We talk about everything from NBA to college football. Say your peace, love, and goodbyes.
Well, guys, that's another week, and we will see you guys next week. Watch some football. Catch us Saturday for our pregame show of the WVU game day on the Voice of Motown on Facebook Live. Probably be – what time do you think we'll go on? It's a noon game, probably around 9 again. 10 o'clock. So come on. We'll give you all our predictions for the game. Have some fun jokes and have some fun on there. And we'll see you guys next Friday.
Yes, sir. So hope you enjoyed episode 89. Like Caleb said, check us out on the Voice of Motown. We'll be there 10 a.m., 10:30ish, whatever time or slot we're given to talk about the W versus Kansas game coming up at noon o'clock on Saturday. And it's going to be a good time. We have fun doing it. Just hometown boys talking. Like Caleb said, watch football. It's a good football weekend. Beautiful weather outside, so enjoy it while you can because it might not be like this next weekend. So, that being said, I'm Matt Mackey. That's Caleb Blaine from Morgantown. We're peacing out for the week. Peace.
Cause lately I ain't been the same. Feel like I'm stuck in a maze, and I'm just trying to get out. I'm trying to better these things.